How do I know when it's time to switch IT providers? So, as an owner of an IT company who would very much like some new customers, you might imagine that my answer to that is right now is the time and move to Genmar. They're amazing. Um, and I wish that was always the case, but to be transparent, there are a lot of times where staying with your current IT provider is the better option. So what we'll talk about today are the risks that are involved in moving providers. We'll talk about the reasons why people may want to move, what you can do to try and fix those problems with your current provider, and then we'll talk about why and how you may want to move to a new IT provider as well. So talk about the risks, and this is obviously something that gets underplayed when you speak to a new IT provider because they want you to move to them. There are real risks involved in moving from one IT provider to another. You're transitioning all of your IT services over from two vendors. There's a handover that takes place of credentials to access your systems. That you need to understand who has responsibility for which services at which point during that handover. Services can be stopped too early. You can forget to cancel contracts and end up paying for things you didn't want to pay. So the risks are real, and yes, if managed properly, the risks can be greatly sort of mitigated and reduced down. But you should go into this project with your eyes open that risks do exist and downtime can happen. And actually, do you want to accept that risk when potentially you could just fix the relationship with your current IT provider? So when it comes to the reasons why people switch IT companies or want to switch IT companies, they tend to fall into two categories. One is structural in the sense that something's happened between either the company and the IT provider, the scale has changed, so the customer's grown or shrunk and the IT provider has grown or shrunk, that's made it so that they're no longer a good fit for each other, and no amount of talking to each other is going to fix that. There are other problems that happen between customers and IT providers that are actually just relationship based, and it's more down to the fact that an IT support provider and a company is a partnership, and it requires a two-way relationship with give and take on both sides. And actually, sometimes the customer just needs to provide more to get more out of that. So we'll run through both, and maybe you'll hear the symptoms of that and think that actually you sit in column A, and a conversation with your IT provider at the moment may just open up a better channel of communication, fix some of the problems that you've already got. The examples of those issues would be problems that are reoccurring, that have been going on for a long time, a lack of account management or a lack of sort of feeling that you're getting value out of the relationship that you have, and a sort of lack of strategy and oversight over the forward-thinking nature of the IT contract that you have in place. So if that's where you sit and those are the kind of problems that you're currently having, often is the case there that you need to just have an open, frank, transparent conversation with your current IT provider. Tell them how you feel, tell them that you want more strategy, you want more regular account views, and that you're willing to invest your own time to have that strategy built out for the business. Because like I say, it is a two-way conversation. A strategy can't be just made by an IT company without speaking to you, but investing your time and energy into those relationships. Maybe if you do that, you can build up a better relationship with them, get more of a channel of conversation going around problem tickets that they can then fix for you that maybe the seniors weren't aware of, or they weren't aware of the frequency of the problems that were happening. And we've seen it happen before. Those conversations build out really good, long-lasting relationships with IT providers that you were having issues with in the past, and you can turn around a bad relationship and have keep your current provider, no risk of transferring to anyone else, and have a really good system going forward for looking after your IT. So if those are the problems that you have, book in a meeting with your account manager, have a transparent, open conversation with them, and give them time frames where you want to get those things fixed, and hold them accountable to them. The other types of problems that you see, which are more, like I say, structural, that are difficult for an IT provider to fix quickly for you, are lack of response to tickets that are being opened, or slow response to tickets being opened, and just a lack of speed and attentiveness to your support. So often is the case that this is an issue whereby either you have outgrown them or potentially they have outgrown you. So if the IT company has grown very, very quickly, maybe they're private equity backed and they're merging companies together and they're part of a big conglomerate IT company, you often see that the response times and things start to slow down, or you feel like you're a small fish in a big pond where you're always speaking to different support people. You never get through to the same people anymore. And you just don't feel like you're getting that love from the support team that you used to. Or conversely, you started with a small IT company when you were a smaller business, you've grown a lot, and now you've outgrown them. They don't have the resource and the ability to look after you as a bigger entity than you were before, because they're a small shop and they've got a fewer amount of people that you really need to look after you. If those are the issues that you feel like you're having, obviously have a conversation with your IT anyway and see if there's anything they can do about it. But it's often more difficult for them to make structural changes to their business to fix those issues for you. So if you're in that camp, maybe it's time to then start looking at the possibility of moving to a new provider. When it comes to looking at new providers, like I say, the risks that are real in transitioning can be mitigated by doing proper project management of those, of that sort of handover. So the things you want to make sure the new IT company is going to do is A, run a sort of parallel period of 2 IT providers at once, so you don't have a cutoff where one disappears and then 5 days later the new one starts. So you've no support for a small period of time. Have it so they're running alongside each other for a couple of weeks or so at least, so that you've got backup in case there are any problems with one. Make sure there's a clear timeline with milestones around when things have been transitioned and whose responsibility it is to do what. Make sure that things are documented. They have a process for obtaining all the credentials in a secure way from the old IT that they can then transition things over, and make sure they have and have tested all the access requirements they need to support you before taking over the support. And make sure there's going to be check-in points with you as the customer throughout that process. So they're checking in with you to make sure that things are happening how you expect them to be, and that there's been no downtime or issues from your side that they weren't aware of. Also, before you start even looking for IT providers, check your notice period for the contracts you're currently in. Again, have a conversation with your current IT about that, see what they can do to help you. Keep copies of all your documentation and passwords and things that you have. You can request passwords from your current IT provider. They're your passwords. That can always help with the transition as well. So I hope that's been helpful. Like I say, there's definitely reasons to and reasons to not switch IT providers. But if you have any questions or want to know more about the risks and things that are involved, get in contact with us and we'll happily go through those with you.